Hello, hello, hello. Just realized I have not shared this. Give me 1 second here. Actually, probably can just do it this way. Sorry. Well, as I get this out a couple places, thank you so much for joining me. This is a continuation of last Wednesday's stream, where I was talking about stuff that I had backed on Kickstarter. Hadn't even made it to GameFound at that point. And now we're going to be coming back to that. Pick up where we left off in terms of back projects, things like that. And drink some more Negroni. Hey Fatal, welcome to the chat. Just getting started too, so perfectly on time. So we get started and ready to talk about Project L. I'd have to look. I think this is the most recent, nope, not quite the most recent fulfilled Kickstarter for me. And I have a few more that are fulfilled, but they're also like print and play ones. So the second they were done, they basically fulfilled. So Project L and Project L Finesse by Boardcubator. This is, well, you can kind of see it here in the background. A game where you're filling in shapes on cards with nice little inlays so the plastic pieces don't slide around. I went really fancy with it. I don't know that they have on here but there's game trays for this. It makes the box bigger, but it's basically an instant pull out and play at that point in time. This one is a fun one. I've played it a handful of times at this point, and yeah, a bunch of pretty cool pieces to it. It's not a very complex game. I could play this with about anybody, and this 2 to 4 or 20 to 40 minutes is really accurate. I need to get my hands on the Ghost Piece expansion. It's the only thing I don't have for it. I probably could have gotten that, but of course I wasn't smart enough to. I did see the update here. Late pledge is still open, so I wonder if I could go in and get the expansion still. Might have to check about that after this stream. Next up, another year of the Dice Tower. I always like to support them, and I back this at the plushie level to go along with the plushie panda, D20 plushie panda, and then the D4 cat somewhere down here. Let's find it. We have a D4 puppy. So the toddler is enjoying the collection of stuffed animals, and I'm enjoying all the content that comes out from the Dice Tower. Now we're getting probably to some that, I mean, if you haven't been around Kickstarter that long, these still might be within your time frame. I believe this launched in 20... Was this early 2020 that this launched with the 2022 expected date? I don't know, but $2 million bucks, a lot of backers. This one I backed because of, well, that guy. These minis are amazing. Plus, watching the content that Rolling Solo put out on it, I am real excited for when this eventually comes in. And for this price here, that 139 euros, I forget, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 monsters. Maybe 13 monsters that you can fight against. 13 monster decks, 12 monsters, and 1 extra large monster. That's a really good deal with the minis that this comes with, from what it looks like. Only 4 hunters, though. That might be the thing I regret, is not adding, and I might still be able to add them, but not adding. I think there's an expansion here somewhere. Just look at those sculpts. This is going to require me to learn how to paint, I think. Fatal, did you back Primal? I can't remember for sure. I know you were looking at it. We have all of these, so many things there. Crafting, basically for your deck construction. Game board, which this kind of gives you quadrants to fight in, so it's less positioning. Well, it's positioning, but it's less bouncing around a map. Bummer on the card, but I think this is a 5th player expansion that comes with 2 more heroes that I kind of wanted to pick up. There's this one with all sorts of cool monsters. This one, I did not add any of these. In all fairness, I don't think I needed to add any of them, but they are really, really cool looking. I considered bumping it up to this level, but that's just too much. Still getting updates on this one. I'm guessing maybe the end of the year Primal the Awakening will show up. But one that should be showing up sooner is kind of a solo adventure book type game that I think I got the paperback for. Yeah, paperback for £12 plus 2 recharge packs. I'm real excited for this one to come in. I like the idea of adventure books. I've done some like puzzle books. So I'm really curious and excited to see this one when it comes in. It sounds like it's getting close to printing, but with some of the shutdowns in like Singapore, Hong Kong, due to COVID recently, it may have been delayed a little bit more. But let's see, they said November of last year. I guess September of this year is when Alba is going to come in. So I am excited for this one to come in. It's going to be a fun thing to do in the evening. So I believe, I believe this is the latest I backed one where it came in, but there's actually one further. Give it a smiley face since I have it. And this actually came in a while ago, but this is basically Storage Wars, but in a fantasy setting with vaults, and the Relic Roadshow adds in more things. Basically, helping improve the bidding aspect of, or why you might want certain vaults, I think, a little bit more. Because if I remember correctly, when Tom Vassell was talking about this on Crowdsurfing, he said his one complaint was that there just wasn't enough variety. Some of the places would be really good, others you just won't want. And having a little bit more variety, a little bit more mystery maybe as to what was in there was what people would want. And yeah, I got the Relic Roadshow expansion, base game, and promo pack that I need to get to the table. Thankfully, this all fits in a single box. So, even with the expansion, it all fits in this base box, which to me is very important. I don't want to take up extra space when space is a premium. Now, I back a ton of really big Kickstarters. This is not one of them. It's not a small game, but honestly is one of them that I'm looking forward to maybe among the most of any of them. Tiny Turbo Cars by Horrible Guild. Updated. I don't remember reading this one, but it looks like July, maybe August, maybe around when I go to Gen Con this will show up. But this is a game where you're racing kind of miniature cars around a living room, and it has these really cool slider puzzles that you slide everything around, and then you activate the middle 2 rows in order, and you're trying to move up on these tracks. I didn't do the collector's edition, which comes with all these different expansions, stuff like that. But I did add on a few things, basically some more track pieces, I believe, and yeah, there is a ton of just, this looks like it's such a silly game. And I'm here for something where it's like as fast as you can do the slide puzzle, and you get a bonus and get a move first depending on if you're the fastest to stop. But if you're slower, then that means that you get, well, if you're too slow, you're the last person, there's a penalty on it, but you've had the most time theoretically to program out everything that you're going to do. But I'm real excited for this one. And if you haven't checked out Horrible Guild's YouTube channel, which I hope they're still doing stuff on, I haven't actually checked it out recently, but every once in a while they do Tiny Turbo Cars, and it was so much fun. So this one should be the latest one that I've received. I'm very pleased with this. More Aeon's End Legacy in a giant box. It puts the previous Legacy box to shame. And I really need to get it played. Actually, so side note kind of thing. Tomorrow, I believe, I'm going to be ordering a board game table. Recessed area, nice setup like that. I'm wondering if maybe that's going to be the first one that I use the table for and use for streaming, because I'd be able to leave it set up on that recessed section and then put the topper over it so that then I'd be able to, well, play and enjoy other games and not have to be resetting up every single time. But this is just more Aeon's End. Aeon's End is a deck building game where you don't shuffle your deck ever. Instead, as you discard cards, you determine the order that you put them in, and that allows you to set up your deck some. And honestly, this has been so long. No other of the Aeon's End Legacy or Aeon's End games, period, have a board kind of like this one does. So I'm going to be curious to see what that does. If you are interested in this game, definitely check out my Aeon's End playthrough stuff. Also understand this is probably a 2 or 1 player game. I don't think it works as well as at 3, just because you don't get a turn as often. And it's running through, and even the non-legacy stuff has story to it. But I just got this. There were some crazy pledge levels for it where you could get so much. I'm trying to look because I'm like, okay, should I be kicking myself? Is there an add-on section here? Because Fatal knows about this, but there's also, or they've done at times, a pack that is basically additional cards that allow you to have all the characters set up at once. That way you can just grab it out and play instead of having to rebuild the deck each time. And I can't tell, maybe they have it. I don't see it. Oh, no, that's War Eternal accessory pack. Did they sell it like separately for each one? I just want something with the cards. So yeah, it is the accessory packs. Thank you, Fatal. Makes sense. Those look like what I remember. I'm looking at that going, I just want cards. I don't care about the plastic gems for $20. Card dividers and cards. Don't care about those 10-sided dice. But it'd be nice to have them to have just every character set up and ready to go. But also, that's a decent chunk of change for everything that they put out. We have Zombicide, Undead or Alive. This is not one that I regret backing. But also, now that Marvel Zombies is out, I'm less interested in this one just because I like Marvel better. So this is going to be Zombicide. Zombicide is a game where you are the heroes fighting zombies, and this is an Old West theme. Yeah, I can see that, Fatal, that it'd be useful with the dice for health and such, but also I have a huge stack for our RPGs, so I could switch to that if I wanted. I did go beyond the base level here. I didn't go crazy. 240. And they say March 2022. I think they're getting close to shipping this. I would say probably September 2022. Oh, that Wendigo. Or Wendigo. That is just awesome. The Wendigo, the Trickster Spirit, those were kind of the reasons why I was looking at this one. Plus, I really like the Weird West theme. If you watched me play Paper Dungeons, chatting with Fatal and Nosferatu Clown on that one. Kind of coming up with ideas for how to make a roll and write campaign game. But I wanted the steampunk stuff for this. Comes with these guns and gears. Full Steam comes with just, so much stuff. And then, yeah, you could get anything and everything you wanted. Those metal dice are cool, but I don't need more metal dice, especially since I can't use them for an RPG. I will probably play this game and enjoy it, but had it come in March, and with the there's a board game market here in Minnesota, board game swap market thing, I probably would have sold it had I had it at that point in time, because it's a Command campaign or Simon campaign, and like that's $140 plus shipping that I probably could have gotten back on it. And there's one mini in here. I want to say it's a stretch goal mini. Let's see if I can find it. Yeesh. There's so much to get through on these campaigns. I think there are a few of us who back this, and then now that they've announced and funded Marvel Zombies for a huge number, we're like, I hope Sheriff Mittens comes in a separate pack, because there's going to be people who just want this mini because, and if it's in a separate pack, this is 100% getting sold immediately for as much as I can, because it's not going to be a character. It's a character I'd play, but it's not going to be generally one that I would pick immediately anyway. So, fingers crossed that one comes in a separate pack. Ooh, wow. I was way off. I still have at least 2 more. Super pleased with this one. I have yet to play the Season 2 stuff, round 2 stuff, but it's here. Super Fantasy Brawl is a really fun 2-player, pretty simple head-to-head fighting game, but not just fighting. You're completing objectives and things like that in a race to 5 points. So really low number of points. The production on this is absolutely nuts. Those minis are not that many, and so good. It's been a bit since I played it, but I have everything for it now, and all I had to do was back this level here, $50 level. Though I did add on this expansion. That was the thing that I could not buy from Mythic immediately when I wanted to. Do they show the giant box here? Well, there was a giant box in the first Kickstarter, and there's so much air in the box simply because of some sort of manufacturing decision around the game trays that were supposed to be in there. It wasn't that the game trays design, or from what I know, the game trays design was better than what it is now. And it's just tiny or not tiny, but super thin and takes up so much room. I need to find a way, I'm going to find a way to put all the minis in. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. I can maybe create like a foam core insert for it that would fit all the minis from everything, plus the tokens, plus the cards. And this is not another game that really should have me learning to paint. Or if somebody wants to paint my copy for me, I have no money to give you on it, but that'd be great. Mythic Battles Ragnarok. Not going to talk about this one too much. This is the second Mythic Battles game. You can see I did not back this for a pledge level. I considered adding it in the pledge manager, but then I picked up Mythic Battles Pantheon, the original Greek kind of setting, at my friendly local game store, as well as the Pandora's Box stretch goal box, basically. And then, goodness gracious, there is enough to last ages in that. There is even a mini, I think, that I showed off very first video about of my Should It Stay or Should It Go Now series, because that mini is too big to fit in the expansion box, even though it is an expansion mini. Canvas. Canvas is here as well. Canvas has been played several times. It is a fun, pretty game. I was disappointed that I had to back the expansion in order to get the base game. Come on. For $60, and there were higher levels. You have everything for... I could have picked up everything for Pantheon Fatal. It was at the friendly local game store, but it was so much stuff. I mean, I think some of the boxes are still there. They might have started to list them on eBay to sell them that way, just because once the main core box is gone. But I think there were a lot of people who looked at the core box and are like, oh, this looks cool, but there's so much extra stuff with it. Should I get it all? What is it going to be? Man, this is a lot of money. I want to say 100,000 for a really light game. But also, I'm a little surprised it didn't make $1 million. Now it's been in print and had reviews. I really enjoy this game. It is beautiful. The scoring is fun. And the game is so incredibly simple that it just works so well. And I need to figure out a spot to hang it on the wall. You can see there's little hangers for it. Somewhere in this room it has to go up. Really fun. Really have enjoyed it thus far. I could see after... Well, I'm probably at 5 plays. I could see after like 20 plays it being like, okay, I've tapped this, but also I haven't touched the expansion content yet. Oh. Wow. I was way off. We have a number of these that are delivered at this point. And this one just came in. I just recently did the unboxing for Marvel United X-Men. Still haven't played with the content. Still don't have that makeup holder up on the wall yet. Actually was planning on doing that tomorrow. Almost 6 million for this one. 25,000 backers. Marvel United X-Men, or Marvel United and Marvel United X-Men. Again, a really light game. Oh, and I did get in the playmat for this, which should fit on the table just barely. And should fit on the game table too, just barely. Really, I'm ready to get this one back to the table again. I've loved my Marvel United stuff, and actually need to start watching some streams in an evening. Have a beer, watch stream on the computer, live stream ideally. Dr. Glory Hog, Glory Hound. Probably not watching this right now, but get on that. I need some more live streams so that I can sleeve 1,300 cards, I believe it is. So, a lot. I need something to watch while I do that. This one actually fulfilled quite a while ago. They have another one out right now. Game toppers. The game mat I have on the table is from them. And this mat, 38 by 60, actually is going to fit about perfectly on top of the topper for the game table that I have coming in. So the Jasper from BoardGameTables.com, the one that I'm going to order. Let me see if I can find a picture. This is annoying because well, not annoying. This is great because they offer so many things, but also they offer so many things that sometimes it's a bit tricky to find where everything is. And I'm scrolling fairly fast, so apologies. Okay, here we go. So I have the Ryan Locket. That is the one I have on my table right now. I also have the Cthulhu. And I don't have the Secret Cabal red, but I have a nice red one. From their closeout, actually. So, the red one I have, I think it was from, well, I know it's from stuff that's much earlier. Thickness-wise, it might be a touch thinner, and doesn't have the stitched edging that the ones I got through this Kickstarter did. Find the mouse again. The Witcher, Old World. You can see I backed this at €1. But I did end up actually backing this in the Pledge Manager. Maybe I'll go through and show what I backed it for at that point in time. Just because, well, I backed it at the standard level, I'm pretty sure. Don't think I added on anything. But the game looks like a lot of fun. I think that this is going to compete with Chernobyl. Or not Chernobyl, but Zona, The Secret of Chernobyl. For a game where you're going around kind of building up and leveling up your character, fighting monsters, stuff like that, and eventually trying to reach that final win condition. Yeah, I didn't get all these extra expansions, or all the extra expansions. So I didn't get the mages. Didn't get the legendary hunt. No, I did not. Or Scullage. I don't think I even got the Eridan miniature. But I'm excited for this one. This gameplay, I watched some of it. I will say that it's decent gameplay with solid audio. There are better out there in terms of like quality, but they did a pretty good job. Go On Board did a pretty good job for being a pretty new company, or at least new to me. And we have another one that has delivered Isle of Cats. Don't forget the kittens. Adding in a number of expansions, plus a big box. And a roll and write. So I like Isle of Cats. It is a fun game, a nice polyomino laying game where you are collecting cats, trying to place them adjacent to each other, and I think Veteran 3, yes. That is the level that I went at because I wanted the roll and write, which I have to play still. I didn't go with the pins. They're cute. But I really like that flowchart, actually. They did a good job with that. They have this boat pack that offers different boat shapes. A lot of cool things in it. Bummer. Oh, no, never mind. So I do get these guys. I was like, do I get those guys? Yes, I do. And there's actually this is available right now, this app. I was not impressed with it when I tried to use the app. Like, so not impressed with it to the fact that I'm somebody who is very comfortable with technology as a computer programmer, that it just something was wrong on their end, and I'm very confident of that. It is probably fixed at this point, but I was not interested in going back and trying it. Deliverance, a game of angels, demons, and saints caught between. This one, Sam Healy from the Dice Tower was talking up forever, or he is no longer on the Dice Tower. He's working with Mythic Games. $1 in. I believe it's still available for me to late pledge or pre-order now. Looks cool. Another dungeon crawl-esque type game. Just not going to be one that interests me enough. There's too many of them coming out. I don't think you'd regret it if you backed it, though. We have Valor and Villainy. Valor and Villainy is the Valor and Villainy Ludwig's Labyrinth is the follow-up to Valor and Villainy, which is a one versus all game. And now we have a legacy style game for this. It's been a bit over a month since the last update. Not worried about this. I'm not sure. I guess Skybound is the one who has this. I backed it at $1. I upped my pledge in the pledge manager to go in for this game, just because legacy style game, always interested. Campaign style games, always interested. And this one seems to have a pretty fun thing going on with it. So definitely excited to see this one when it comes in and check it out. I did not go with... I think I just went retail game. I don't think I went with the deluxe copy of the game. Definitely didn't do the premium. Maybe I did the deluxe. We can, again, maybe check this out. I think it's on GameFound for the Pledge Manager, so we could look there. Catcomb Fellowship of the Con. This is, again, the RPG convention. I backed lower level than normal. Normally I do a table sponsorship, but for nerdologist.com, but backed a little bit lower. I always want to support them. They've been great people, great friends to be in contact with, and great podcast with the RPG Academy. It's been ages since I listened to it. I should go back to that. Spires and Hildegard. Actually just bumped up my pledge for this. And Fatal, I believe you backed this one as well. Assuming your card worked. But that artwork is just amazing. And to help with the shipping, because it was a fairly... I mean, it's not a super component heavy game. This box, I think, will be a chunk larger than what that looks like. But this is a story-driven game, all done in a deck of cards where you pull out a card, it tells you what to do, and it's like, okay, go to this card. So if I decided to go with bread and buttermilk, that specifies I go to card 5. I discard card 3 and 4, and I don't know what is happening. I am excited to get this one in. You can see Spires End on this channel, but this one definitely feels like a different theme, or it feels like, okay, it's set in the same world but not the same game. And that artwork, I will keep on going back to it again and again and again. It's just really good. Alright, continuing on here, because we definitely have more. Well, I'm not even gonna open up these 3 actually. Agrimonia is an adventure, kind of story-driven, dungeon crawl-esque type game. I think I could still pledge it if I wanted to, and I kind of do, but I'm not going to. Mainly because Madara is opening up its pledge manager on Wednesday, I believe. And that could cost a chunk of change. But Agrimonia is going to be like I said, a story-driven adventure game. Kind of play out on a book, I believe it is. And as you reveal certain things or interact with characters, that will then maybe have you draw a card that you flip out. Verdant is the 3rd in the series of games that have Calico, Cascadia, and Verdant in it. I want to play Cascadia. I think it seems like a fun one. Verdant seems good as well, but one that I can pick up later. Calico is a blast to play and the one that I own of that group. Then Skinny Mini is 2. This is one that I could add more to. Basically miniatures, or not miniatures, but like acrylic standees that you could use for RPGs and stuff like that. And I am playing Dungeons and Dragons a fair amount, but also we only do Theater of the Mind. I'd love to get them. I'd love to start building my own terrain, but only so much time, and I decided to skip it. Grove, on the other hand, was most definitely a back for me. This is from the creators of Orchard. Orchard I've played about 150 times since August last year. Small 18 card, or 9 card so that you use at a time, solo game. Grove is the next iteration on that. Let's open it up since I did back it. And we'll just show off it right here. You basically are layering cards to get things. Real excited for it. No doubt I was going to back this one, as Dice Throne is my number 2 game of all time. Plus it's Marvel. I believe it's getting close to shipping. And their target was June? Yeah, June. So hopefully it's on a ship at this point. Let's see what the update says. It's from just less than a month ago. So on the boats, 60% is on the water from just under a month ago. So hopefully be getting this soon. It's one that I unbox on the channel. And hello, Studio Laniston. But yeah, I'm excited for this one. They have events for it too at Gen Con, which I haven't signed up for, but I'm a little tempted, even though I'll have it in my hands at that point in time. Then we have Hanumakoji Geishas Road. This is a follow-up to Hanumakoji, where you're trying to win the favor of different geisha. I love Hanumakoji, so definitely one that I was going to back. And this one with the Geishas Road gives you kind of a battling... Wow. Be nice if they had anything about the game here at the top. Wow, yeah. Instagram giveaway even. Like, you are trying to win favor at these locations and get the geisha to those locations to get customers, and that's how the game works in some ways. I'm excited for it. I hope that it's still as accessible as Hanumakoji, because of what I love about Hanumakoji is that it is tricky, but not to the point where it makes it impossible to learn. There's no complexity within Hanumakoji about learning the game. It is about playing the game and optimizing that. Alright. Getting closer to the end here. Yeah, this one up here, definitely starting to do some cheaper ones at that point. Mythwind. Mythwind gets described as kind of Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. One of those games where you are trying to complete objectives, do things, but there's no real end to the game. So, yeah, a persistent world, as they call it. And 30 minutes plus. Basically, once you could sit down and play for 30 minutes. And yeah, I agree with you, Steve Lassen. I have high hopes for Mythwind. And knowing Mythwind's upcoming game that they hope to kickstart this fall, Stone Saga, and knowing one of the developers on that game, actually, he was here this weekend at my place, I have very high hopes for anything this company puts out, because they seem to work very well, or to find very good developers for it. So beware that Stonebound Saga will likely be coming later this year. A campaign, legacy-ish type elements to it, I believe, in terms of the game. So another one that, I mean, even if I didn't know somebody working on it, I would be 100% interested in it. Unless you want Mythwind or Stonebound Saga, or both. We have MVM, Man vs. Meeple Season 4. Just in for $1 to support them on this one. They have a ton of promos, but didn't grab any of them. Catapult Feud Hydra. So this one is a game I have played the base Catapult Feud. Yep, fair that with Mythwind and not yet Stone Saga. They've been leaking out a little bit of information on that, and I mean, chatting with my friend who helped develop it. Some details from him, not always a ton, but Catapult Feud with this Hydra here. Hydra is going to be able to launch attacks as well as the catapults. Plus then more wall pieces and stuff like that. I only got the Hydra expansion, except you could see on the main page that I pledged 90 for it, because I got the Hydra expansion, the Viking ship. I don't think I got the volcano. I think that was the only thing that I didn't get. And this is a game where you're on the floor, you're launching stuff to knock down the other person's castles. It is a silly, fun game that I probably won't be able to play for a little bit because the two new kittens, which are probably passed out on the couch at this point, they're most definitely not trustworthy enough to not chase after the ball and like go crashing through a castle. The old cat is not trustworthy enough to not go chasing after the ball, but won't crash through a castle. Probably. So I'm excited to see how this one works, and I'm excited just to get more stuff so I can build a giant castle. Yeah, this one will be a little bit hard to do a live stream of. A little bit hard. Final Girl Series 2. So Final Girl is going to be a game where you play horror movie, basically, and you're the last survivor. Or not necessarily the last survivor, you're the girl who's going to be the final girl, which is generally either the last survivor or last victim after the last survivor thinks that they've killed off the killer. I have the original game, so the base box for the original game, and 2 of the feature films for that. As well as then I backed it for... Yeah. Here we go. I backed it for all the feature film boxes for Season 2 because I don't care about the minis. And added on the additional 2 feature film boxes that I didn't have. This is going to take up a full calc shelf all by itself. But I loved my play of it thus far. Very thematic. Definitely one that I should stream coming up here sometime soon. Supporting the Dice Tower. I didn't actually support it at the level for the plushie. I wanted a promo pack because it has promo cards for... Alright, everybody close your eyes for a second here. Let's see, Bone, Lords of Hellas, and ISS Vanguard from Awaken Realms. Plus, I always want to support the Dice Tower. The other ones that I have here for like Holly Jolly, Wild Serengeti, Summoner Wars, Mind Management, Cellulose, Picture Perfect, Mind Bug. I do kind of want to get Vindication as a game. Aquatica, which I want to play. Rush Out, Lawyer Up. Maybe I'll do a giveaway for those. Cards are easy enough to send. But we go back up, so close your eyes again. There's a Dino plush that I added in the Pledge Manager because it's another plushie. Gotta get it. Gotta collect them all. Hey, Marvel Zombies. So like I was saying, I kind of wish I had my Zombicide Undead or Alive to sell. Yeah, the plushies that Dice Tower does are great. Because if I had Zombicide Undead or Alive to bounce back to Marvel Zombies, I would have sold that at the board game market that I was at, or eBay, something like that. But now we have Marvel Zombies, which Nosferatu Clown, you can confirm with me. And Studio Aniston, did you back this one as well? I know that you back some of these minis games, because you do painting, and you've backed Marvel United XMen and I think Marvel United as well. But shipping on this got high very fast. And I didn't even get this giant Galactus. But there are so many boxes and just so much volume for this game that it's a lot. And yeah, Steve Anderson, that is very fair that it is too expensive right now. There is so much for this one. I know that a lot of backers were doing the Undead Pledge because that at least got you the stretch goals. Yeah, 127% of the estimated original shipping. I think that I went with a single wave of shipping instead of getting the base box first because it wasn't worth paying like $50 more for it. So I'll reference a Dice Tower video here where Tom was talking to Robert Geislinger from Arcane Wonders and somebody from Pandasaurus, one of the owners, about the shipping costs, and they were like, yeah, even looking at those costs right now, knowing how much is in Marvel Zombies, like Simon is subsidizing the shipping. And I agree, Nas. I wish that they had, like, they could have charged us for everything now, and then right before stuff hit the boats, charge us for shipping. Or even like, maybe not right before, because you have to have, right before anything gets packed at or in China, charge for it, because that way people would have that last-ish second chance to change their address to a different location and set the shipping prices. But I mean, I think that my main complaint with this, and I don't think it actually would have changed anything that I backed, is that the shipping estimates on the Kickstarter were too low for what shipping actually was at that point. And it might have been something that they assumed based off of other numbers, or maybe wishful thinking that it would go down. But, and in all fairness to Simon, they do say it is an estimate, that it is liable to change. And with the other stuff that I've backed from them, it's generally gone up like $5 to $10. But this one went up a lot. And I think it'd be better to say, this is the current prices for shipping that we are looking at. And before, like the week before they open up the pledge manager, to be like, we will send out an updated shipping table in an update, and be like, if you want to cancel at that point, they could even be like, yeah, all right, 20%. 20% of your pledge you don't get back. You get only back 80% of what you pledged, which means Iman is keeping 10% of it because Kickstarter already took that much. Just some better communication. And if you want more on this, check out that Dice Tower video with Tom and Robert Geislinger from Arcane Wonders, and the guy from Nate, I think his name was, from Pandasaurus. And then there's also a couple videos by Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. that are worth checking out as well. there's been plenty of people who talked about it. Actually, maybe the best two. So the Dice Tower one, and then Jesse from Quackalope with the designer of Oathsworn talking about shipping costs, because Oathsworn came back and required people to put in more money for shipping after the designers had put in like 100,000 extra themselves. So I hope that one comes back to Kickstarter or GameFound like 2 months after they deliver, so they can make money off of it, because that is like Oathsworn is a game I'm really looking forward to. All right, 5e class sheets, cheat sheets. I just got this and printed them off. These are basically little cheat sheets for every basic thing for D&D classes. Anything that is available on the public side of things. SRD. There we go. SRD classes. But also form fillable so that I can make my own, which I probably will for the other, or for the subclasses, I guess. That way it's something I can pull out or print off whenever anybody is interested in playing a certain type of character. We have wine management. I actually printed this off. I need to go back and print it off again because there was a typo. So Nas, to explain SRD, how to do that. Think about it as kind of like your free version of a piece of software or something like that. It offers you some access, some features, gives you the basic functionality for it, gives you the basic functionality for Dungeons and Dragons, and it's always publicly available. Then SRD, or then stuff outside the SRD, so even stuff in the player's handbook, like the basic books, all of that then is protected. So it's basically the stuff that is not fully protected by Wizards of the Coast, keeping you from using it or transcribing it to something else. Wine management, print and play, roll and write. I need to print off that updated one. I know that, Nas, this is your type of game right here. Yeah, I don't even know what SRD actually stands for. But we have a winemaking roll and write. I need to reprint it, the player sheets. Once I do that, I want to try it out. Astro Knights, another one from Indie Boards and Cards. This is the spiritual successor to Aeon's End. They say inspired by Aeon's End. Whereas Aeon's End has a fixed deck. They're slightly overdue for an update. This one has, or fixed market, I should say. This one has a changing market, basically based off of whatever is flipped out there. Keeps a lot of the other things. You're fighting against a big bad. You have your characters that maybe have a little bit less on them. Space anime-esque theme. Real excited to get this one in. I absolutely love Aeon's End, clearly because I talked about it already. Very excited for that one. Unsettled. All new content. Well, Unsettled is going to be a space exploration game that I went all in on, minus sleeves, where you are going to a different planet and Each planet, I believe, has 3 different missions that you try and complete. This is a super overproduced game in the best way possible. Great little trays, things like that, customized or custom dice. Everything, not everything, but there's the base box for it, which is huge. And you can fit in these different planets into it. And yeah, the price is high. The reason I jumped in on this one is I was already interested in it. And I think it was actually talked about on the Glory Hound YouTube channel the first time it was up on their Kickstarter show. Which is kind of where I learned about it. But then every review except for Tom Vassell was good on this, and even the people who he was doing the review with were like, we're really surprised. This seems like your type of game. And it seems like really good tongue-in-cheek writing, such different game play. That just looks like a room, not an actual card tray or something like that down here. So, I don't know, maybe it comes with its own room. But base rules, this is very much like Time Stories, but without pretending that there's an overarching story to it. As I'm real excited to get this one in. They say February next year, so fingers crossed. I think you can still late pledge it, but I mean, if you're a responsible adult, you should late pledge it. I mean, yeah. So this one I actually backed for my wife, and I backed it at the PDF level, which I think I have the PDFs for it now. I need to send those somewhere to get printed. But this is an RPG, and so my mother-in-law is hard of hearing, and she always has been. And my wife convinced my mother-in-law and my father-in-law that they should start learning sign language. And my wife also started learning sign language so that it would make it a little bit easier to communicate in like noisy situations. Neither side has necessarily kept it up fully. They keep on bouncing back to it. So it is getting closer for them. But also this is an RPG that teaches you sign language as you go, which is a really cool idea. And I mean, it looks like, Nas, you can still late back it, though you use past tense, so maybe it's not as relevant anymore. I'm curious about this. I think it could be fun. I think it'd be a fun thing for my wife to learn how to do. Maybe like have this be the thing that she learns to be a game master on, and then when the toddler is like 5 or 6, play like a dummy down version of the game and for myself to start to learn sign language, ASL, and the toddler to learn it too. I mean, he'd be a kid at that point. So we have Seeds of Havoc, $1 pledge for this. That was only because I won a copy through Board Game Revolution. If you want to have a chance of something like that, check out their Facebook page. They recently just passed 50,000 members on the Facebook page. So, yeah, definitely. It's a cool group. They're doing a bunch of giveaways right now. And Rock Manor Games, maybe know them best for Maximum Apocalypse. This game is a 2016 winner of a competition. I don't know much about this game, but it's a pirate game, looked kind of cool, so I decided to enter the contest. And actually was at this level that I won it. I assumed that it'd be at this level and then I'd pay to upgrade it to the better one, but no, thank you Rock Manor Games for putting up the contest for this higher level because it looks cool. Looks like a fun one. And it's a pirate game. Hopefully it's a good one. Iron Forest. Oh, I wanted to back this one so much. And I did for $1. But I could still light pledge this. I kind of want to, but it's a 2-level Ice Cool. 2-level Ice Cool basically means a flicking game at 2 different levels. And this one, instead of it being a Penguin High School where some people are, or one person's a hall monitor and the other person's a other players are students. This one has kind of missions and scenarios that you go through. But man, I really do want to. This is just, the issue is a copy of the game is $85. And we're going to go real fast. Shipping continental United States is $21. So $106, assuming shipping estimates have not gone up. Then that's really expensive for a flicking game, but I really want to do it. Yeah, now so you can see why I passed on that one, but I want to. I think I have this one as well that I need to go and print off. Another print and play roll and write. This one about cars. Looks pretty basic, but $3. Print and play version of a game. Worth trying. Looks like I might have to print off some cards, which I don't love. But so be it. Not a board game. This is Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson's writing. I backed it at the ebook level. I couldn't justify backing it at the hardcover level. I mean, that's what, 4 times as much? But Brandon Sanderson, amazing fantasy writer. And yeah, I'm going to check out anything that he does. Plus, if you saw the numbers on this, so Frosthaven was maybe the top Kickstarter of all time, or I think second highest board game Kickstarter for sure. And that was at 13 million, I believe. This is almost 42 million. And from the dude who wrote Twilight, it is just ridiculous. Oh, well, I mean, the dude who wrote the Stormlight Archives, Mistborn, is it Mistborn? Yeah, Mistborn, and the Reckoners. It is ridiculous. And look at this. This has almost 9,000 comments. The Marvel Zombies had almost 90 or over 90,000 comments. Then we're getting close to the end here. Kekoro. This is a roll and write. Doesn't look super complex, but I need to get down the files. I think that was, it doesn't show me the conversion right now. Well, 150,000 there was, wow, it really doesn't show me the numbers in dollars right now. But basically $5. to try out a print and play roll and write. And this one does look like it just needs dice. So hopefully it's good. Nothing else, it looks cool. Dark Quarter from Lucky Duck Games and Van Ryder Games, who I backed Final Girl of. This is going to build on their Destiny system, but with Van Ryder Games kind of leading the charge on all the writing and all the story to give you a supernatural Nolans feel to it, and in a cooperative game versus a competitive game like Destiny's, which Destiny's was phenomenal in my play thus far. This one looks grim, dark, vampires, mature. I'm real excited to get this one in. Plus, they do such a good job with the app integration for it, so want to get it. I basically got the all-in gameplay level. Don't have any of the extra fancy bits or bobs, but I'm fine with that. Then we have Fortress of Terror. Actually just got a link for this one. Another roll and write print and play. $5. Print it off. All the stretch goals. Again, cards. I don't love cards. I'd love if they could figure out a way to handle that besides me printing off cards, because I don't want to like print off cards, cut them out, glue two pieces of paper together, or print off something like get cardstock paper, print it, take it out, flip it, print a specific page again, and then cut them out to get cards. It's just not as fun, but it looked cool. $5. Wanted to try it. Paper Railroad. Some railroad. Roll and write. I believe again, $5. $5 US. Yeah, I maybe should just spend the money, get the cards printed online. There aren't too many of them. Print to play, roll and write. No cards in this one. Yay. Curious to see. Looks fun. Pestilence. Ooh, yeah, NASA, shoot me links in Discord. Pestilence, Escape the Black Death, roll and write. Cat screaming outside the door. I think this one was $6. Getting a little bit steep. You can see very similar look, but basically looking to collect people and what you need to get out of Paris as a roll and write game during the Black Death. Butterfly Garden by Dr. Finn. $5. Print and play, roll and write. There's a lot of them. I think there was a way to get some printed version, or like printed version of something. Figured $5. I'd give it a try. And active, I only have one that's active. Actually, it's been a little bit dead on Kickstarter for what I've been looking for lately. And this is another roll and write game, but I'm not doing the print and play level. I had originally backed it at the print and play level, but what kept me from doing that was that you use a deck of cards. Well, and the fact that this is a nice dry erase setup. But these cards are really nice. I think this is one that it looks complex-ish, but it doesn't look too bad. And you're drafting, or you're taking 3 cards choose one for the suits, so the location on the board that you're activating, one for its value, and one for poker hand, which I'm assuming gives you some things, plus then some people you play against. Steel Aniston, which one do you have still active? I'd be curious to know what people are backing for sure, because, I mean, there's a lot. I didn't actually count how many projects I have backed. And, I mean, there were a handful for $1, but most of them for more. Warline. I am not familiar with the Warline. Alright, so on to Game Found. This is backed projects. You will find that backed projects means anything that has a pledge manager as well. We have Time of Legends Joan of Arc, which I can blame Fatal and Steel Aniston for definitely encouraging me to back this after the fact. I was already fairly interested in it. This is going to be kind of playing through, I think it's mainly head-to-head, 2-player. The world of Joan of Arc and kind of some of the fantastical elements and storylines that go along with it. Then, over here, and that one I do have in now. Then ISS Vanguard, a massive game from Awakened Realms. Ooh, Warline is a strategy board game. Interesting. Is it strategy as in pick your strategy from the start of the game, or strategy as in you have to be able to strategize and then adapt to the changing system? Because one of those is more interesting to me. But ISS Vanguard is going to be a massive, massive story-driven game where you're going around to different planets and exploring and upgrading your mothership. It looks so cool, and I cannot wait for this one to come out. I did not do the sun drop for this. I went all in gameplay. So base game, a couple expansions, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm always, just to bounce back to Warline, I'm always a little bit hesitant on anything that has too much pre-planning. I'm very good at adapting on the fly, and I can pre-plan, but a lot of my work is pre-planning to pull stuff off, and I am generally not in the mood for that for board games. Nemesis Lockdown, already talked about. Project L, talked about. Dice Tower, talked about. Ooh. Steve, do you want to drop me a link for that video in Discord? Because that'd be great. I'd love to actually check it out. So Robinson Crusoe, I have a $5 credit for it. I did not pledge anything for this game. A lot of the times, or some of the times, if you're following bigger GameFound things ahead of time, that's going to give you some reward. In this case, $5 or 5 euros towards the game. I actually got rid of my copy of Robinson Crusoe without having played it, but I traded it to a friend. So that's fine. Chronicles of Drunagar, Age of Darkness, Apocalypse. This is one that definitely, it got me the second time around. Originally on Kickstarter, it came out, had good reviews, and immediately dropped a second Kickstarter as everybody's excited about it coming out. A campaign game, tons of minis, looks real cool. Fatal, I believe, has some of this. I don't know about anybody else in the chat. Let me know if you back this one, because, man, I'm excited for this. So, I don't even remember what I backed it at. reprint. Then I added on the Apocalypse stuff and one hero pack. That's what it was. $245 plus like $85 for split shipping. But they were, I will have to say, so this is Creative Game Studios. They held off on their shipping estimates forever until it was getting close to the last minute for like split wave shipping. They've had issues with GameFound and shipping for this, but they kept the shipping cost basically the same. Oh yeah, you were... That makes sense, Studio Aniston. I was not in on Daenerys and Arena of the Contest, so this is where my money went with it. And so much stuff. I don't think I did... I think where I backed it at with this and the reprint stuff, it doesn't come with, like, there are some stupidly big and gorgeous looking minis for the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. I don't think it came with that. But this, when it comes in, I will definitely be doing an unboxing for this. The Venice is one that I really wanted to back, but generally you can get Lucky Duck stuff later for basically as good a price. A free expansion and free recharge pack was what was tempting. For me, it's a legacy kind of tile laying game with their scanning stuff and story. They sent it out to a lot of reviewers with the first two scenarios, and having watched it, it reminds me a little bit of Aeon's End Legacy, in the fact that the first scenario was like, okay, this is fun, it gets your feet wet. Then second scenario, okay, it adds a little bit more, but it's still really light. And even all through Aeon's End Legacy, it is very light compared to a lot of what Aeon's End is, but it teaches you really well how to play Aeon's End. This is one that I'm going to have to keep an eye on what Madara does with their pledge manager, because this might be one that I add. Lords of Ragnarok, I skipped out on that one. I was following it, still am, just to see what the updates are. I love Lords of Hellas. I don't think that I need both, and considering I already own one, I'm not going to spend money on a second one and then sell off the one that I have. Talked about Witcher the Old World. Alright, Nas, good luck finding one of your many, many bathrooms. Thank you for joining. But yeah, so I just backed... I think, yeah, the basic level. Oh man, look at that. $26.83 for shipping. Those were the days. Long gone. Verdant, skipped. Too Many Bones, Unbreakable. So I forget if they said this is the final one. Oh, is Titans from the same people who did... Which one did I just talk about? Witcher? I did not realize that. But yeah, Too Many Bones. Just backed the expansion stuff for it. I know I'm going to pick up... I'm not sure I'll pick up the base game right now. I might pick up Undertow later. I mean, they have this giant chest that stores everything. Fits perfectly almost in a cube for a Calyx. Undertow I might pick up. Or Splice and Dice. Something like that. Just for a little more content, but 2 characters in the base game. And Chip Theory Games does a good job of keeping stuff printed. Not always available, but they always have a plan to print the next run. So we talked about Agrimonia and Mythwind and Grove already. Seas of Havoc, Final Girl. Alright, we have a couple last ones to finish up. Sleeping Gods, Distant Skies. You saw me play Sleeping Gods. You saw me get one major rule wrong in Sleeping Gods. That I did not reset the skills every time you reset the deck. Well, 1, I didn't realize it was there. But 2, that seems like kind of a dumb rule to me. Doesn't make sense thematically. Though with 9 characters... like it had, you kind of had to do that, otherwise you could spend your command tokens and get everybody really powerful and kind of be able to do a lot of things without any issue. Distant Skies basically does the same thing as Sleeping Gods, but fewer characters, abilities don't reset, combat is a little bit different. Definitely back this one. I think that Near and Far is fine as a game. I don't have an interest in picking up Above or Below or Now or Never from that same series. But everything that Ryan Lockett does, art-wise, is amazing. I mean, the dude's technically it's a 3-man show, I think. But he is heavily involved in everything. This looks phenomenal. I cannot wait to get this in my hands. So excited for it. And then final thing we have is For Northwood. For Northwood is a solo trick-taking game from Sideroom Games, and I believe that they're the ones who are producing Grove as well, and Orchard. And I'm so curious about this. A solo trick-taking game. I like trick-taking games. I like solo games. How is this going to work? And it's cheap. Like, this is... if you want to get a game that's a reasonable price, this is really good. 65 cards. Cheap. And really good artwork. Stuff like that. I think it was $15. Yeah, $15 for a copy of the game, and shipping was barely any more. So, really excited to get this one in with PVC cards, so you can spill your Negroni on them. Mine's all gone. But that's it. So, let me pop back up here. Between these past 2 streams, we've gone through everything that I have backed for $1 or for more. And you can probably kind of track a little bit of history. It's really been the past 2, 3-ish years that I've gotten into crowdfunding very heavily. I would back the odd thing every now and again. But now, with the website, with this channel, I want to back a little bit more because I'm curious about more. I want to be able to cover more. But also, you can see how there was a section there where I really backed heavy games. And there are some things that are not on that list that I have backed. I backed Uprising Curse of the Last Emperor from Nemesis Games. But I did that as a late pledge over on BackerKit, I believe it was. I have backed Isofarian Guard, a 1 to 2 player really a one-player campaign style game with like chip drawing combat that looks phenomenal, like voice acted or foreteller. I think foreteller narration for it, and in a box that is bigger than Gloomhaven. But I backed that after the fact. I think it was like $79 plus $40 shipping, $30 shipping. Really cheap. And if it's a good game, if it gets 7, like if it's rated a 7 on Board Game Geek and I decide it's not for me, it's one that I can sell again later. I don't have plans to do that, but it's one that I could. So, man, there's so many games out there. Let me find it here. I keep on looking at this one. Can't late pledge it anymore. But once this becomes available, wherever that might be, and I hope that there's a chance to get this not with paying a massive markup on eBay, but a massive Vampire the Masquerade story-driven game. This looks amazing, and I skipped it on Kickstarter, and now I've seen some things on it. Quackalope had a playthrough a while ago from like some of the mid-production materials. I am so curious about this one, and I think that this is going to be my type of game. I just can't get it right now. I really want it to come back to Kickstarter. It has not delivered. Not the greatest thing. Sounds like they're going through final approvals. And Paradox Interactive, who has Vampire the Masquerade, you're working with somebody, and the size of this game, the amount of writing in this game, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I'm very curious about this. I maybe should reach out to them and see what we can see, if there's any way that I can pay to get a copy still, or get a copy somehow, because I am really, really curious about this, and I'm really excited about this one. But let's get back above the table here, back above the screen. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for joining me on this journey. This has been 3.5 hours to go through all of the Kickstarter stuff that I have backed, and 2.5, probably 3 Negronis for all of that time. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment down below. What is your most anticipated? Well, you did Kickstarter, and actually, I'd be curious to know what is the first thing you backed, what is the most anticipated, and what is the last thing you backed. Because yeah, it's just interesting to know what is going on with that. But with that, like I said again, thank you so much for listening. I will be back on Wednesday. I believe more Paper Dungeons. Maybe Hadrian's Wall, if I can find time to finish off the rules for that. But thank you so much for watching, and bottoms up.